Good morning, everyone. Here we are on Election Day in the United States, and I am going to experiment with putting on a double calendar here. So, as you know, I've been working on different concepts, ideas, etc. on these. I am using the product called Ninja Spread. This has been developed by a gentleman out of Europe. It's pretty interesting. It works for all types of stocks. I just happen to have mine narrowed specifically to SPX at this point. I've built a search that I kind of like for calendars. So I hit the search button here and it goes out and it looks at all the various spreads that are available to me, and then I can sort those spreads. Now, I already have one on for the 18th and 21st. I like my spreads to be 3 days, and I see what Ninja Spread brings back to me, given the fact that I'm looking at a 3-day differential on those spreads. And I'm ideally looking to open something maybe over the weekend of the 25th, 28th. So this one comes back. It's at the 75, 37.75. I personally just tend to lean toward leaving the 75s out of it. I like to go with, as you know, I have my ONE set up so that it's operating on 10-point increments. It's just a little easier for me with everything I'm doing there. So I kind of tend to rule those out. Again, not that there's any specific reason. And in this particular case, it looks like there's, maybe a decent case to be made for going with this one over this one. Again, this one being on the 18th, I'm not interested in that. I should say I can sort these by expirations as well, which maybe is a better way for me to do this. And then when I look at these two, I would probably lean toward this one at 3,800. Let's take a look at that, see what that would model out to. And yeah, that looks pretty good. I like where that's at. It's heavily under the 10th there, anywhere from about where that's at out into, this range. I do just like that to appear as being under the 10th. So I'm going to say I like that one, and I'm going to save that to the watch list. And then I'll want to do the same thing here at the call side. So again, our lower calendar is going to be with puts. Our upper calendar is going to be with calls. So now I'll run that same search for the call side. And let's see what that yields us. Again, I want to ideally go out to the weekend of the 25th, just because it's going to be easier for me. I mean, I already have some on the, at this date. So we're going to look here, and we got one that's 2.6% above the peak, 2.6% above the market. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of on the edge there, but that's not bad. This one's a little better, but of course, then we're at that 15. I guess I could do that. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I mean, that actually looks a little bit better there. So I probably would go with that one, even though I don't like necessarily having to deal with the 5-point increments. So if I want that one to be saved as well, I'll just click there. So now those two that I'm considering are saved to my watch list. And I can come up and go into those here. And there they are. So now if I want to model those two, I'm going to just slide this out of the way so you can see me setting this up. I've already just set up a mock one here. Well, here 3,800. So I did hit that one as something that I was picking myself. And then let's take a look. The other one was 39.25. 39.25. So there we go. So we're looking at something like that. So right now, these are going in the 315 range, somewhere around there. I'm going to go ahead and start shopping these. Now, the way I do this, there can be a wide spread on these. So let's take the put one first. And I'll probably do these, maybe I'll do them in a 3-lot each. So let's just, what I like to do is to come in and edit this trade so that I can see the range that it's trading at. And I really like to shop these things and just kind of, I don't just jump into them. I could let this order set here the bulk of the day. So I'm going to put this order out there again. I'm going to do 3 of them. And I'm going to put it out there at $3. And it's just going to be a day order. Oh, so just dropped to 3. Okay, so we'll see. So we're going to go ahead, put that out there at $3. And then this one, let's take a look at this one. Going to go through the same process, kind of see where it's trading. So, and I'll do the same thing with this. I'll just kind of drop that down and around the $3 range. And then we'll put that order out there as well. So if we look at our various orders then, we can see that I have those 2 working right there. So basically, I'm just going to let those 2 orders work. As the market moves up and down, one of them may get hit. And when it does, we'll circle back and take a look at that. But if one of them gets hit, and I do get in on one of them, then I will get a little more aggressive in the other. Ah, look, I goofed up there. I didn't do that in a 3 lot. I want these to be the same. So we're going to do a cancel replace order here. We'll make sure those are also 3. And then we'll resend that. So there we are. So we've got both those out there at $3. And again, we're just going to let those set, kind of see what happens. I will circle back later today. Hopefully one of them will get filled. Once one gets filled, I'm going to get a little more aggressive at getting the other then filled by the end of the day. And then we'll see how this transpires and plays out over the next few days. Okay, just circling back with you. So I did get filled on both of these calendars. Now, that said, when our market rallied up here, the call side got filled, and I was hoping that we would have gotten the put side filled in that same general area, but then our market started selling off. So I had to get a little more aggressive about getting that put side filled. So if we take a look at this, I'll also tell you that ideally, I probably should have maybe looked at this, and rather than going at 3,800, I possibly should have moved this down to the 3,750 range or so to create a wider tent on this. Of course, when you create that wider tent, you're also sagged a little more in the middle, which has its own challenges going forward. But again, we started off, let me just isolate these for a moment. So we started off that we got into the call side of this. And then after we got filled, and again, the market was up here at around the 3860 range at the time we got filled on that. Then as the market started selling off here today, well, I didn't want to instantly go down into unprotected territory here. So again, I felt a little more compelled to make sure that I also got the put side of this filled. So if we isolate this and simply look at the put side, you'll see what that looks like as a standalone trade. And again, as a standalone trade, this would probably be fine the way it's centered. But I like to do the double calendars just to give myself a wider tent to work with. And of course, as we know, the call side was much, much higher. So my total tent here tends to run, and again, keep in mind with calendars, this is not a fixed tent. That's the big challenge with these. As volatility changes, the width of this tent is going to change as well. So that this thing right now is, 4,000 to 3,700. So it's a 300-point wide tent, which is a nice tent. If our market chops around in here, this is going to work great for us. Again, in the ideal world, after this sell-off of approximately 60 points today from the highs, I would prefer it to be a little more centered, but you know, that's what we got for right now. Now, after we know what's happening with the market tomorrow, if the market moves significantly one direction or the other, it's not out of the question that we would add maybe an additional lower tent here. Maybe we would close this tent and move it down there. So those are a couple things that we may look at. But again, right now, well, we have this thing open, right, wrong, or otherwise, and I will slide over. This is what I probably need to shoot. Let me pause this a second and resize my screen. Okay, so this is what the position looks like in ONE as well, just as an FYI. So that's where we're at this point in this new calendar. Again, if you want to do a trade like this, go ahead and do it ideally in paper or very, very small, because I don't have a formulated specific educational content around this. I've got a bunch of different things that I'm working on, but I don't have anything that I would say, hey, in this situation, you need to do this. I mean, I've got, again, a series of different moves you can make in different situations, but nothing that is formalized. So you will, to some extent, be on your own if you do enter this particular trade at this time. I will be continuing to post on this one, but just as a heads up, that's kind of where it'll be.